Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Draft Day Sports College Basketball playthrough. 2020 version still, but playing with the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. This is going to be my third season with the team, and I'm going to start this episode off with an update on the 21 version. I think I've been letting some of the commenters know on my YouTube videos that I do have the 2021 version. This week, I'm recording this episode a day after the official release, and this week the developer was able to come together, get an update or a patch to that 2021 version that allows you to save or import your saves from 2020 into the game. The only catch is you have to be at that May 1st date, which is kind of the start date for the season. It's when you purchase your scouting reports, for instance. If you don't import that 2020 save in when it's at that date, you run the risk of there being some corruption, I think, or maybe things don't work as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it one more season with 2020. I'm trying to get the videos out a little bit quicker than I usually do, so that I can get those in. I would expect from this point probably another week, although a week after game release of that new 2021 version, I should be ready to start putting some videos out, at least recording some videos. We'll see, but that's what I'm aiming for. But with this one, I really want to stay with Middle Tennessee. This third season in, I feel like the fun comes, especially when you're playing as I am. I'm not playing in the sandbox mode, where you can pretty much take a team on and I think stay with them as long as you really want. I'm playing in the challenge mode, and it's really tough unless you start making some improvement. It's really tough to stay with any program past 3 seasons. But I think if you can, that's when you'll start hopefully noticing you're going to have a lot more success in the long term. But that's the goal. I want to build a good program here. For me, I think at this point, getting 3 or 4 star prestige, or like 50 or above prestige with this team, maybe helping to get the Conference USA, helping get their prestige up to 50 plus, that would be really nice. But to do that, I think I'm going to have to build a team that consistently makes it to that Final Four tournament and wins, gets maybe to the Sweet 16, Elite 8 here and there. But regardless, I just wanted to give you an update on where I'm at with 2021. I am going to play it. I am going to put it on my channel. It's just, right now, it's just a matter of timing being the issue. But with that in mind, I've got a lot to update you on. I'm trying to get through the seasons a little bit quicker. Now, I may not do this when 2021 rolls around. I might want to go through and show some recruiting, for instance, or may even play out a game or two here and there. But like I did with last season, I went ahead and simmed through a good part of the recruiting and all of the non-conference schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and start this episode off, get you caught up, and I'm hoping to get through maybe 9 games of the conference schedule like we've done in the past, and I think that would be a good way of getting a full season in with 2 episodes. But I'm going to start with the positives first. If you're paying attention to the screen, you'll see one of the things I've done now 2 years in a row, because I think wins are important. We've got to make those goals where finish above 500, make it to some kind of postseason tournament. NIT would be great, but at least make it to a postseason tournament. And I'm hoping that if we do those 2 things, we'll see an increase in our prestige, which is another goal that the AD and the school has. Well, you can see we're 10-2. And I know I gave us a good amount of pushover type wins. These are not, very, in a lot of cases, big programs, but we closed it out with a 7-game win streak. And here's the thing. I still don't know what this is going to translate into when we get to the conference schedule, but we played in the Cancun Challenge, which is one of those early season tournaments, and we played against Stanford and beat them. Now that's that's Pac-12 team. That's considered a major conference, and we didn't just beat them barely. We beat them by a lot, 81-53. So I don't want to get carried away with that, but maybe this team is pretty good. Maybe finally we're getting it together here. That's why we have the 12 games. I mean, usually we have an 11-game non-conference schedule. We had that extra one because we advanced in that Cancun Challenge. We next played Mississippi State, and that was close, 65-60. And then we lost on the road to George Mason. They're in a pretty decent basketball conference, so losing that on the road, that's tough. But we also got some road wins in here. You count the Cancun as a road win. We beat Grambling, Louisiana Lafayette, and Tennessee State on the road. So that's a big plus. If you look at the road record, and we do have the best record going into the conference play at 10-2, but we were 4-1 on the road. So this has been, and still, I know with the level of competition, we're still top 100 RPI. So I'm trying not to get too carried away, but I do think that this has been a really good showing with this team. And I'll show you what I'm doing with the depth. This is something that I had some questions about, because Johnson is a point guard that, this guy's shown some interest in the school. He was a pretty good prospect, looked like, or a recruit. I decided to go for him, even though I had like 3 guys on the team who could play point guard, none of them really well. Well, I'm glad I did now. This guy is a current 4-star potential at point guard, and I just hope that we keep him. That's the big worry with a guy like this. He may decide to go to the draft early. He may transfer out. So we really need to have a good season, I think, just to keep this guy happy. So far, looks like, with every game, his relationships are getting better. But he started out slow. He's a good scoring point guard. I don't expect him to be pretty high in assists. But look at these last 2 games from this guy. 22 points, 27 points. If this stays, if he stays 4 stars in the next season or above, gets a lot of playing time, this guy could be one of the best players in this conference. So I'm really surprised and shocked by that. I moved Montgomery because we don't have any depth at shooting guard. I moved Montgomery, who was last year's starting point guard, over to shooting guard because, look, he's got 9 of 10 outside shooting. Not a great scorer, but I think you combine, the outside shooting with some of his other attributes here. He was the best option I had at shooting guard. And look, he's 11.5 points a game, doing well with rebounds and assists. So I feel like he's handled shooting guard much better than he handled shooting guard or point guard for the last 2 seasons. So that's been a positive. Tremblay is a senior. He's been decent at times at that small forward role. Had 17 points plus 25 against the Citadel. But coming off the bench, this is probably the best recruit we had. Still struggling with recruiting, but Vidal Baxter, he is a small forward, and I think next year that's the position he'll play. But I've been using him at shooting guard because of the depth issues there. He's had some good games here and there. I think trying to give him a lot of time. He's 10 minutes right now, but as the season goes on, I might start putting him more in the small forward. I mean, I'm using a lot of guys out of position here because I'm having to. Recruiting has been tough with this team, but you've got Craig at power forward, Eschmeyer rounding it out. Eschmeyer really looking good at rebounds, not scoring too much this year, and then backing him up first season for Keith Brown. His ratings didn't hold. I mean, he was like a 2.5, 3.5 potential when I signed him or got him to transfer. His potential's moved down a little bit, but 9 points, a little over 2.5 rebounds coming off the bench. I think he's really happy. So he has a chance, I think, to start at center next year. But that's the depth. That's the team that we're winning these games with. So, the big surprise is that Johnson at point guard. He may give us the kind of guy who can really really lead us somewhere. Finally. But another thing I wanted to go over too, recruiting is tough, and this is why. Right now, recruiting in this game in general it's pretty tough. I even saw I mentioned before the developer when he was making some of his videos about the new version coming out, talking about the recruiting in this game. It's really like a separate game. It has so much depth to it. It's really hard to recruit, and I think the struggle I'm having here, we're below average conference, and the team is a below average team within the conference. We're C at facilities and academics. We're going to have to start improving somewhere. So we're going to have to get our prestige level up, and we're going to have to be able to convince the board that we need more money either for facilities or something. I feel like when we start looking at that, that's where you've got a really good chance at getting some of the 4 and 5 star recruits year after year. Now, having said that, I've worked on recruiting about as much, it's all been offline, but I've worked on recruiting with this team about as much as any team that I have ever coached in this game. We've got 4 open spots, and you can see what we got. So we got 3 2-star recruits, 1 1-star. And, I'm staying with him because his numbers are good, and we need the depth at center. So I don't really have any other options at this point. And we're not even guaranteed of getting these guys. We have had so many players who have, gotten close. Here's Dunkley, for instance. If I had the time, I've got him, and he's in our top 10. But the odds of us catching this guy, a top 20 regional center, when we're 9th on his list of schools, probably not going to happen. So we've got a long way to go, and I've got to hope that the recruits that we get, I know I've seen some of you guys commenting before, and one of the comments that comes up a lot is don't waste a recruit if they're not 4 and 5. I don't think you can get 4 and 5s year after year. I think sometimes you just have to get the best recruits you can and hope that you set your depths and strategies correctly. You got your strategies matching the type player that you're recruiting, and you're giving them playtime and see if they develop. And I guess, maybe staff, having a coach with a good player development rating. For our first assistant, this guy has 3 stars, so I'm giving him the practice duties. I'm hoping that plays an impact or plays a part in improving these guys, because I'm not going to get the recruits right now. Definitely not going to get 4 and 5. That's what makes, that's what makes this Johnson guy at point guard so valuable to this team, is because these recruits are not going to come too often until we start winning consistently. So, having said that, this 10-2 record, I'm really hoping is true, because we need the wins. If we don't, it's going to make recruiting even tougher going into next season. And, we've got, hopefully we can keep Johnson, like I said, but, we're going to lose some other guys here. Oh, one other thing I will say is we got a shooting guard that is coming in as a transfer. He's 4-star potential based on my scouting right now, but this he's transferring from Arkansas, where he was a starter. So I feel like we're going to have depth at shooting guard next year regardless, but I'm just trying to get, the best recruits that I can. And sometimes they may be 1 star, and I just hope that if they get on there and they're not good enough to play, I may have to cut them. But I would rather have that than walk-ons. Walk-ons I've found in this game are just, here's an example. I mean, this guy is a shooting guard. He's got good free throw shooting and outside shooting. But I don't know. I mean, he's not the kind of player with the other ratings that he has that you can put out there on the court for very long. And here's Chris Walker, same way. I mean, he's got some decent abilities at outside shooting, but his scoring's low, and you're not going to get much from these guys walk on. So I think I would rather take a 1-star recruit and see if I can't coach him up than rely on just a walk on. But that's my experience with the game and my feeling on playing the game now through multiple seasons. But I get it. If you can, the key is to get those 4 and 5-star recruits year after year. But unless you're in a big program, you're not going to get it. Unless you have the high prestige, you're not going to be able to get that consistently. So we've covered where we're at record-wise, the depth, recruiting. I think we're ready to go. And the schedule that we have for the conference, it's 9-9, 9 home, 9 away. But we end the season, 3 of our 4 games are going to be on the road. So I'm really hoping that record that we've got going so far on the road is gonna matter. But right out of the gate, 2 tough matchups. Western Kentucky, even though we're at home, and then on the road against Marshall. I think these 2 games might tell us something in terms of how we're going to be in the conference. Worst thing that could happen is, we got this great record and we go and take a step back in the conference play, but it wouldn't surprise me. That's why I think it's so good to have a cushion right now. I think we could easily go 7-11 again in this conference. Not a whole lot separates really the good teams from the bad. I mean, 9-9 is good enough to finish above the middle in the conference, but this is my 3rd season now with MTSU, and then the seasons I have with UAB, University of Alabama Birmingham, before I lost that one to a bad hard drive. That I noticed that. I mean, it was rare that you would have a team finish 16-2 or 15-3. But let's go ahead. We're going to start out at home against Western Kentucky, and we handled them really easily, 69-54. So we got a double-double I see already from Eschmeyer. So our starters looks like they had a good game here, going back to the box score. So we had, team-wise, good defense, that 33% shooting, 4 of 20. They really struggled from 3 points. We out-rebounded them 44-28. That's huge. Turnovers, one of the things I'm noticing over the last year, and this is the problem, is this Montgomery guy. He, for whatever reason, it must be, if it's his court IQ, I don't know if that has a part in it, but he just has so many turnovers game to game. I think 2.5, 3, he's better than he was last year, but not by much. But that's another thing that we've been doing well in, is turnovers. But this game looks like Western Kentucky had the advantage there, but we outshot them 9-22. Not a good free throw performance, 8 of 17, and that was Montgomery. Montgomery had a pretty rough game here, but you see Craig, 10 points, 9 rebounds, plus 16. Tremblay, a good game from him. That double-double from Eschmeyer. Johnson, 14 points, just 1 assist. So he, like I say, he's not going to get a whole lot of assists, but good scoring point guard. And then off the bench, Jack, 8 points. That's good for him. Landrum looked pretty good, 6 rebounds. Brown, 5 rebounds, 5 points. I don't know. So he's at 12 minutes right now per game. It's possible this guy could work his way into the starting role at center. He's got the size. He started at Texas San Antonio, so we'll see how it goes. I feel like he's got a chance to, if he's the best we have, and he might be in a couple seasons, he's got a good chance of starting. So that's a good way to start the season. I was a little bit worried. I thought that may be a home loss for us, but the real tell is going to be, I guess, when we get to some of these road games. I mean, if we start winning road games against these teams in conference, then I'm going to feel a little bit better about this team, that it's the real deal. And I haven't really made too many tweaks from strategy last year. I'm still going with about 25 motion, 25 Princeton, and then dividing the other two between flex and triangle. Now Marshall's off to a tough start. Again, this would be a great road win regardless, because Marshall is still, they may have had a tough schedule, but wow. Okay, so now I've got to start thinking this team's for real. 85-60 against Marshall on the road. And at 12-2, that's why that record is so important. That cushion, we could go 7-11 and still finish with 17 wins and probably get a postseason tournament. But you look at this game, good defense, 36, held them to only 44 attempts. So rebounds 34-20, turnovers 17-19. So we won that turnover battle. I think that's been so key. But then we shot 54%. We sent them to the line a lot, but it didn't help them too much. Trent Craig, not a big scoring power forward, but really came through this game. Had 17 points. Trombley, 4 of the 5 starters had double digits, and Johnson 4 assists, and this one 9 points. I think he's now the leading scorer of the team. Montgomery's 11. Eschmeyer 8.7. I'm liking the rebound numbers this year from him, though. He had 5 this game, so Johnson might actually lead us in scoring the way this is going. Brown looked good off the bench. And how about Landrum, who's probably at this point looking like he's going to be the starting power forward in his senior season. He's, I think if he's given the time, I think he's going to put up decent numbers, probably numbers like Craig's putting up. And then Baxter, good game from him off the bench. I think he's got a chance to start next year if he doesn't lose his ratings. So already I thought we might even be looking at 0-2 at this point. So to be at this start even is incredible. It's just, I don't know yet who's going to be the good teams in the conference this year. That's the thing about college basketball, especially in again, in these smaller prestige schools. It's different. You don't get the recruits year to year. You don't have a program that's going to get the recruits, those top recruits year to year. So it changes. A team that was dominant last year, maybe they had 3-4 good seniors on the team, they move on. They're not dominant next year. So until we get farther into the season, it's really hard to know who the good teams are in conference. So I want to go to the emails here. This is just recruiting. Another thing that's come about is we're 50-50 here with Middle Tennessee or North Texas. I've noticed that the assistant who does scouting, we're 59-41, against Charlotte, and a lot of these teams, even some of the mediocre teams, even like the non-conference teams that we had scheduled in previous seasons, we would be scouted to lose those, and I've noticed this season a lot of those we've actually been scouted to win. So next game we're going to be playing Rice at home, and I think I went through and forgot and checked the sim that one. So we did win it. We are now 13-2 and 3-0 at home, or in the conference. I'm almost speechless. So 86-58. This was a drubbing, and I've seen, again, looking at that non-conference schedule, I know the competition wasn't great, but we had teams where we did this too. We had one team where we scored 99 points on them. So good defensive game again, 36% shooting for them, out-rebounded them 47-21. Turnovers, 11 for them, 16 for us. So we're still struggling there, but Montgomery, what a game for him. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And then Johnson. I don't know why Johnson wouldn't be given that nod for player of the game. He had 6 assists, 18 points. Good for him. Eschmeyer, 9 rebounds, 7 points. I bet Eschmeyer is one of the leaders in rebounds in conference right now. He's got to be. Trombley, a good game from him. Not many points from Craig, but that's okay. Brown looked good off the bench, 6 rebounds, 10 points. Landrum again, 5 rebounds, contributed. Man, what a another good effort. 51% shooting. We didn't go to the line that much, but we didn't need to because we just dominated the boards. You look at the second chance points, 13-0. Great game, and I'm just gonna do that while I'm thinking about it. So that's our stats. I want to see the league leaders. Man, look at this, 14 rebounds per game at Oklahoma State. And that's, these are the programs that get those players. Look, Michigan State, Georgia Tech, they get those players year to year. And that puts them there. If you're going to play as I'm doing and a lot of other guys are doing, I've seen some of the guys commenting on my channel. If you're going to play a team from a mid or even lower major conference, you're going to have to get used to not being able to recruit. And I think it makes the game a little bit more challenging for sure and fun. So Eschmeyer, 78 in rebounds, but Conference USA, I'm thinking he's got to be up there. Close. He's 4th, so that's okay. And then points per game, minutes per game. That's interesting. Gosh, you got some guys at 32. I've just never wanted to go that far. Montgomery is 27, leading for us. But points per game, Johnson is 6th in the conference. Montgomery 13th. And now Johnson's, again, a freshman. So maybe he'll have... maybe he'll get some notice there for freshman, either team or freshman player of the conference, player of the year, freshman player of the year, whatever the award is. Let me take a look at recruiting again, making sure we're still on track with some of that. We're still his top team, We're still top 10 for Desmond. Fisher, we're 2nd for him. And then Wilcox, we're 5. He's got some good numbers here in high school. I think that might mean something. So I want to try to catch him. I know, again, he's just 2-star, but I think he's got some good attributes there. I'm going to watch film, scout him live. I can't host him. I may try to do this Mike Parnell too. He's got some good look at stats. Now he in the past has not been interested and even talking to us. Still not. But, sometimes this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite him to school because no, I can't. First, he's been here. That's why. John Curry, we're his top team. I'm going to watch some film on him, give him a call. Team Preston. Now, he hasn't visited. Let me see if he'll visit. Nope, he won't. I'll scout him live. Got plenty of money left over. So, shooting guard, I'm going to get what I can get at shooting guard. So, I think Hemhill is the one who we've got. And hey, his rankings have gone up. He's the one we've got now with a scholarship out there. I'm just going to, like I say, I think if you can't win with recruiting, I think there's still a chance to win with your strategies and these other things. So, and your coaching. So we'll see. That's if we win. I know we do have that 4-star recruit that came to the team, but if we keep having a good year, if this year continues to be the way it's going, if it stays the way it's going, I think you'd have to say that what's happened with this team is just the development and maybe mixing the strategies up a little bit so that we've got the right depth chart for one, and we've got the right offenses out there. Okay, so this is another good challenge. Alabama, Birmingham, any road game at this point is going to be a good challenge. If we continue to win the road games, and Alabama, Birmingham, 2-1 in conference, they're not going to be a pushover, and we win. And I know the last few episodes I've been really complaining about that in a way, the fact that you're not able to win on the road, and look what's happening. I think that's 6 or 7, 6 maybe for us on the road. We just had a good first half, it looks like, but defensively we held them to 19 for 47 shooting. We out rebounded them, and the turnovers were close, but we beat that battle too. Free throw shooting has been a problem, and I don't know. Craig's struggling. What's his ratings at free throws? Yeah, he's pretty much average there. Tromley, he was 3 for 4. Eschmeyer 0 for 2. Montgomery, he's not that great free throw shooting. But individually, Keith Brown off the bench, wow, what a game he had. 16 points plus 9. Yeah, I mean, I love Eschmeyer's size. I've said that so much. I think, and his ratings, especially with the rebounding defensively, I think he's got some good ratings there. But, he's junior this year, his senior season. I don't know if I don't know if I could guarantee that he'll be the starter if Brown looks better, or if he starts, improving his ratings. It's going to be close. I mean, both of them have 3 potential for what it's worth. But now in this game, Montgomery and Johnson outside look pretty good. Other players to notice here, not much off the bench. I mean, it was a pretty good team victory, close game, 69-60. Man, I'm really I'm kind of shocked, if I'm being honest. I've had such a hard time building a good team in this conference now, the 2 teams. I mean, we had a couple decent seasons with UAB, but nothing like this. 14-2 start, 4-0 in conference. It's pretty dang good. And I'm hoping still that I didn't get too long-winded, and now we're going to have a hard time getting those first 9 games in. But we're 4-0. I'd like to get 5 more games in this episode if we can. Look at the inbox. Make sure that there's no recruiting decisions coming through. Nope. We got Old Dominion. See how we're scouted. I mean, at this point, yeah, no, they're picked to beat us. They're, I would say, one of the best, if not the best, programs overall in this conference. Now, Florida International, no, we're picked to beat them from our scout. But quick look at standings here. So Old Dominion is way down there, 1-3. We're the only undefeated team in conference, but man, you got 3 teams below us at 3-1. So it's probably going to be a close fight as we get further along. We have not played. Well, we played North Texas. That's the only team we played. But look at that away record, 6-1. Nobody else is even close. The only other team close would be Florida Atlantic at 5-5. So who do we got next? Charlotte at home. Hopefully we can keep it going. Let me see how the other games go, and then I'll save ours for last. As long as I've been playing this game, this is by far the best start I've ever had with the team. I've had at least one 20-plus game, 20-plus win team, but close one. But we went at 15, so we are guaranteed. Well, no, because we got that extra game. We're not guaranteed a winning record yet, but we're getting close. 15 wins. That's pretty good. But sooner or later, somebody's going to knock us off. I mean, these teams have got to be gunning for us at this point. That was a close one. We didn't have a great shooting performance here. Turnovers, though, equal. We out-rebounded them. We need to get better at free throws. I think that's holding us back. Individually, Eschmeyer got player of the game, 15 points, 6 rebounds. Trombley looked good, really +9. He was the best plus-minus in the starting lineup. He's been adequate. Small forwards, I don't know. I don't know what. Unless they're just really good, unless they're the kind of player that can dominate regardless of what position they play. I don't know if the offensive sets are geared to get this guy a lot of opportunities, but regardless, he's played well enough to keep us, where we're at, I guess. And then bench play, Baxter, 4 rebounds, 6 points, +11, looked good off the bench. So did Brown, once again. He's, so Eschmeyer, 8.7 points in 24.5 minutes a game. And then Brown, 9 points in just 13 minutes. So I'm not going to pull Eschmeyer at the moment and put this guy in there, but they're complementing each other really well right now. I like what I'm seeing from both centers. All right, so let's play another game, and then I want to look at start looking at the standings. We're probably going to have a road game next, if I'm guessing. And I just keep waiting for a loss. That's the thing. For me, the last several seasons across multiple teams now, I haven't had a whole lot of success, and I just keep expecting that the hammer's going to drop or something. I'm going to have a long losing streak, but I think I'm starting to get to the point where I know what I need to do to win, and maybe finally it's paying off, but we'll see. We got a lot of games left, so we got 13 games left in conference, and now this this is the challenge, right? North Texas on the road. We beat them. No, we beat Western Kentucky. I forgot. So, whew. Yeah, this is probably where the mojo's gonna leave us. Let's see. Yeah, 85-79. But what a run. I'm going to take a look at that too. I think something like 11 or 12 games in a row that we won. Great winning streak. Definitely career highs for me since I've been playing this game. And that's going to tighten up the conference standings a little bit too. So I guess the thing here is they out-rebounded this a little bit better in turnovers, but it was such a close. You're talking about 6 points, so we were better at free throws. They had 3 more 3-pointers than we did, but we shot better than them. And then it was close in shooting. They had more attempts. I think rebounds may have played a difference here. And Barry is I think he's their point guard. Great game from him. So he's a senior, he's a little bit more experienced. Maybe Johnson, who had an all right game, an okay game. Tromley struggled. Eschmeyer and Johnson, considering, and Montgomery, I think they had pretty decent games. Bench play, this guy Hammond off the bench, 17 points. A power forward freshman, he looked really good. And we got 12 points from Baxter. That's one of his highest, if not his highest, point totals. He has had 13 before, but it just wasn't to be. I mean, sooner or later we were going to get a loss on the road. It's going to happen. If that's the team you're losing to, I don't think it's time to panic yet. So let's keep going. I want to try to get 3 more games in here. Now the key is how well do we bounce back from this. The way I would like to see the season go, I would like to see us win 10 in conference. I think that would be, combined with that start, non-conference schedule and some of the wins we had there. If we finish 10-8 in conference, that gives us 20 wins going into the conference tournament. And I think that would really mean that we're improving, I think. So the way I'm looking at it, we're halfway to that goal right now in conference. So just hope that we can keep it up. So what are we looking at from the emails? It always does this thing. It won't let you go right away into it, but let's see what we got here. Western Kentucky, who we beat at home. So that's going to be a tough one on the road, right? And then Louisiana Tech, who not last season, 2 seasons ago, and we're picked to beat them. They beat Oregon this year, ranked team. So they played 3 ranked teams, and including number 1 Kansas, and beat one of them. So they may be pretty tough. But let's who are we playing right now? Florida International. This is the team who made it to the Final Four tournament last year. One thing I was going to say too about Louisiana Tech, they made it to the tournament 2 years ago and won their first game. And I forgot, and I think, so we won it. So we're now 16-3. That guarantees us a winning record through the regular season. So, not necessarily I think it guarantees us a winning record regardless. Because if we lose one game in the conference tournament, we're still going to be 16-15. So let's go to that game. Wow. Oh my gosh, 100-77. I think that might be the first time we've ever crossed 100 with this team. Certainly not without going into overtime. This is an awesome win. You got a lot of your bench players got a chance to play. What a win! Oh my gosh! So I'm looking at just the team stuff first. That's a pretty decent shooting performance. They got 77 points, but we out rebounded them. We were close in turnovers, tied actually, but our shooting was phenomenal. 64%, 41 of 64, 9 of 19 from 3 points. Neither team went to the line a lot, so it was a pretty, for the most part, looks like a pretty good game from a discipline perspective. But individually, 4 of the 5 starters, double digits in points. 2 of the guys off the bench, double digits. But just looking at top to bottom, Craig, one of his best games of the year, 15 points. Eschmeyer, 12 points, 6 rebounds. Really good game from him. And then Johnson. Man, I hope I don't lose this guy this year. 6 assists, 15 points. That's what I'd like to see. His 3-pointers weren't that great. And if I'm looking at him, his field goal percentage is really good. 45%. 3-point percent, 30%. But I don't want to tinker with it right now. So off the bench, Landrum, a good game from him. I know, those are pretty decent considering the amount of minutes he gets. I can live with the numbers he puts up. Give him a full. Well, he's slacking off a little bit scoring, but I think you give him the time that Craig's getting. They're going to have pretty similar numbers. Baxter again looked good, 10 points plus 14, and then Brown looked good. I mean, he's still leading scoring over Eschmeyer. Gosh, this is a great win. I cannot believe how we're winning some of these games. It's it could be that it's a down year for this conference on top of an improvement from us, but I did not expect 16-3 at this point. I mean, I think barring just an epic collapse, we got a good chance at 20 wins this season. And, we keep this up, I think NIT, which is one of the goals, this might be one of the years where we make every goal that the AD has for us, which means, maybe we can start asking for more money for facilities. That's going to help with recruiting, but that's why this season is so important. I don't think this team is going to get over the hump long term until we improve that prestige. Now this one, I don't know what to make of this one either. Old Dominion's really struggling this season. This is a road game. Can we do this? Can we win? 2 seasons ago, I would have said no. And yeah, this is what you expect. Even the bottom of the barrel, bottom of the league standings, when you play them on the road, get ready to lose. And so that's what happened here. After that dominating game, we just kind of had it handed to us. We're struggling, the turnovers were big here. That's the thing. But we're struggling at the free throw line. We didn't have as many. And 3-pointers, man. Johnson throwing them up there. Maybe it's something I'm going to have to address if we start losing and we're not competitive. Not a whole lot to talk about positively from the starters. I mean, Eschmeyer, 7 rebounds. That holds his season average. But once again, Brown, he was the only plus player other than Trotty, who got 1 minute on this team, Kevin Brown. So look out. I mean, this guy might be ready to be the starter next year. He's not, I keep saying that I love Eschmeyer's size, but this Brown is not far off. I mean, 6'11", as opposed to 7 feet. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell too long on this one. I want to get one more game. I think we're getting long. So that stings a little bit. You would think that's the kind of team that we can win on the road, but Old Dominion, you can't rule them out. They're easily in all you go through the playthroughs I had with UAB and even this one. They're one of the top 3-4 teams in this conference. So 16-4, 6-2 in conference. This will be the last game of the episode. I would love to go out with a win. One more win. The wins that we tack on right now are just making it easier and easier to make sure we're going to hit a lot of our goals this season. And Texas El Paso, we are scouted close. They're scouted to beat us. And then who was the other one? Marshall, who I think we beat on the road maybe already, so we're scouted to beat them. And then who's the Norton candidates? Any teams here I recognize? Western Kentucky, Jerry Matthews. So that's some notice for the conference. Not too bad. Now, I want to get this one last game in. Who are we going to play? Louisiana Tech. Luckily, it's at home. I hope this is one of those teams we don't face except at home this year. But this the schedule in conference play for sure is a little front loaded in terms of the home games. So we need to keep winning these. And this good comfortable win, 83-68. Keith Brown 15 points. I mean, he may deserve a start, but how many times has he been player of the game? I don't think it'll tell me how many, unless I go to the almanac. But let's take a look as we do with the team play. So we barely out-rebounded them, but we won that turnover battle. I think that's key. Every time I see that where we're either quite a bit ahead or quite a bit below, it seems like that is a key to determinant, however you say it, on how the game's going to go, because more turnovers usually gives the other team more shooting opportunities. Like, for instance, this one, rebounding is almost even. Defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, they're pretty close, right? But we got 6 less turnovers than they did. We had 6 more field goal attempts. So I think that's one of the key things I see game to game. And free throw shooting, we're struggling at. We went to the line a lot. We could have easily won by 20 in this game if we'd had better free throw shooting. But individually, Craig, a good game, 12 points, 5 rebounds. Eschmeyer, he's not scoring, but 9 rebounds. And then Johnson, Montgomery, 11 points for them. Bench play was really good in this game. That's something that for the previous 2 seasons with this MTSU team, bench play hasn't been that great. But this season I'm noticing that we've had a few games like this. All of our bench players are, for the most part, with the exception of Price, are plus double digits in that plus-minus rating. You see how Brown's doing. Baxter has had some really good games coming in. Landrum, same way. So that's a great sign. I mean, at this point with the 17 wins, we could lose every game. And I'm Not hoping that we do that, but we're going to have a much better season than we've ever had. But let's take a look at what's coming up. So the next 9 games, we're going to have 5 on the road. Luckily, we're playing a little bit better on the road. We need it. I mean, this Western Kentucky, Texas El Paso, Florida Atlantic, those will be tough road games. And then Marshall, Southern Miss, Texas, Alabama, Birmingham. Can we do 5 wins out of those last 9? Would be huge. 5, so that would give us 22 wins on the season. Man, our RPI is 89. It's not the best in the conference, which is, that's still, I think, says something for North Texas and Western Kentucky. They're going to be tough teams to beat. UTEP too. But even, I'm not feeling too bad about that easy schedule. That's not why we're winning at this point. I think we're definitely a better team than we've been previous 2 seasons. If I look at the polls in the media, are we to the point of... No, we're not. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because we're not... And when I say I'm going to go ahead and do that, I'm going to get to February 1st, which is when you'll know who's on the bubble or not. So... At the moment, when it gives you that look at who's going to make the Final Four tournament, we're going to be there because we lead the team. We have a 1-game lead in the standings. Looking at the overall standings, man, Kansas, even though they're 18-5, are ranked first. Florida, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech having another good season. And it would be nice to have our team somewhere in these rankings week to week. That would be so awesome to get to that point. So for the bubble watch now, we would be showing up. There we are, 49, and that's just because of where we're leading the team, or we're leading the conference. If you look at the bubbles, so we've got there we go, Western Kentucky. They're showing up on the bubble. I mean, I think they have a pretty decent RPI. I think it may be the best in the conference, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, it is. So they're going to be a tough opponent, and we've got them on the road next. So that's how we're going to start next episode. If we win that game, wow, this team's for real. If we pull out a win against Western Kentucky at home on the road, this team's going to be huge. But regardless, we're way ahead of where I thought we would be by this point. This is going to be our best season ever with Middle Tennessee, and I'm really looking forward to getting back in next episode and finishing up. Appreciate the comments as always, the support of the channel. Get ready for 2021. That's coming soon, and I will see you next episode.